If you want revenge for the bad things that have happened in your life, start with the version of you that hasn't lived up to your potential.
Wherever you point the finger of blame, power follows. And so whoever I blame for the life I have is the person who I give all the power over my existence, over my circumstances. And so it hurts, but if you turn the finger inwards and you start saying, I don't like my life. The person that I need to punish or get back at is the real person who got me here, which is me. If you can barely decide to take any action at all and peel your eyes away from your phone for just a moment, it's so much easier to beat everyone else. It has never been easier to start a business, to make money, to get in shape. It's just also never been easier to do nothing.
We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. The only work that really matters is the work that no one sees. It shows you who you really are rather than who you say you are.
Is know that when no one's watching, I work harder than when they're watching. And thinking about it like that has given me this persistent and ever-present scorecard or third party that's like, no one's watching, which means now you have to work because otherwise you're full of shit. Me and other me holding the whip behind me to see how much I can take. But with each lash of the whip that I take, learning that I can take it and continue to trudge on. And so as long as you keep going, you bear witness to yourself of what you are capable of. And I find that incredibly satisfying in the trenches of misery when you have to go through it. I'm still here. I'd say one of the strongest mental frames that has got me through my hardest times is thinking this will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story, and by consequence, the more epic the hero.
A lot of self-work can be summarized into thoughts aren't true, feelings don't require actions, things aren't good or bad, they just are, our greatest enemy is ignorance. To change your life, change your surroundings. Our actions, not our pasts, define who we are.
I think what makes life more difficult for people is the judgment they have on themselves about what they believe they're supposed to do or supposed to have achieved, or that this condition or this thing that happened is good or bad, or it should have been good or it should have been better. And the thing is that as we continue to play out the timeline of life, we can't know if anything is good or bad until the day we die, and the day we die won't matter because we'll be dead. And so it means that at the end of the day, all of the things that occur simply occur. And for me, reminding myself of that I think this is bad or I think this is good, it limits the peaks and it also limits the valleys. And saying, this just is. When you're growing, it's very painful. When you're stagnating, it's very painful. When you're declining and you also don't know what to do, it's very painful. And so that means that all conditions of reality are painful. And so if pain is a prerequisite for reality, then it means it's just a signal that we are alive. And so in thinking about that, rather than pain as a problem, it is a signal that I'm breathing, and then becomes irrelevant. Victims see their past as their fate. Champions see their past as their origin story. And so a lot of people are living through their origin story right now, or they're living through the very reason that they'll never be successful, but it could be the exact same situation. And the only difference between either character is the actions they choose to take, which means that if you're waking up in your main player character today in this moment, as weird of a construct as this is, the past doesn't exist. It's just gone. It's not anywhere. And so the only thing that we actually have control over is the actions that we take right now.
There is this strange feeling that one is not yet in real life. For the time being, one is doing this or that. But there is always the fantasy that sometime in the future, the real thing will come about. The common feeling that your life has not yet begun, that your present reality is a mere prelude to some idyllic future. This idyll is a mirage that'll fade as you approach, revealing that the prelude you rushed through was in fact the one to your death.
Waiting to begin never got anyone anywhere.
The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition. It's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life, rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
The fear that people have when they're starting out is that they say things like, I have nothing going for me. I have no advantages. I have nothing to my name. I have no money. I have no network. I have no resources. It also means that you have nothing to lose, which makes you incredibly dangerous. And I think people wildly underestimate how many shots on goal you can take when you have nothing to lose. You have the perfect conditions for taking risk because the worst case scenario is baseline, is where you're currently at, which means that it's like going to the casino and playing craps, but they say that you can just keep playing until you win. But people are afraid to roll.
A warrior has or feels the obligation. If something is out of balance out there, I'm gonna fix it. Or you try. And if you try and you fail, you try harder next time. But you don't give up on that statement that you're giving to yourself.
Nervous system will always choose a familiar hell rather than an unfamiliar heaven. Your nervous system is connected to the trauma that you've been through, and it stores that trauma. And its number one job is to protect you and keep you safe. Here's the thing, is that your nervous system will protect you by keeping you comfortable. Comfort is the familiar hell. Uncomfort and pressing through the unknown, even though it's very scary, is the unfamiliar heaven. So get uncomfortable. Do the thing that is scaring you. Take the step. Jump, whatever that might be, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up in a way better place.
Your life gets better when you realize nobody gives a fuck about how much money you make or how many followers you have or what's going on. They're worried about their own shit. So take a deep fucking breath and realize this is you, this is me, and this is all the famous people that you wish that you were or could be. This is the world. They don't give a fuck. In the scheme of things, it's nice, it's good. But my friends, I promise you, the shit that you're worried about, that they think about you, they don't give a fuck. And in a weird way, that's awesome. Once you realize that nobody gives a shit about you, they've got their own fucking problems, your life gets better.
Srila said this was the essential question you have to ask yourself. He says, in everything you do and say and think, is this essential? Because so much of what we do and say and think is not essential. And he says, when we eliminate the inessential, we get the double benefit of doing the essential things better.
You don't actually have to know if it's going to work. You don't have to know if you're going to like it in a month, in a year, in 10 years. You don't have to know if it's the right or wrong decision, and you certainly don't need to keep overthinking it. Because truth be told, there is no wrong decision when you're acting from the values of the person that you want to be.
And here's what I want to tell you. If you feel a little stuck, you are capable of so much more than you even know. Your life is so big and so beautiful, and the most amazing people that you're going to meet are ahead of you in life. I want you to know that if you can get clear about what you want, and you commit to waking up every day and just putting one foot in front of the other, I promise you, you will wake up like I have at some point in the future and realize you're not only living the life that you dreamed of, but you're actually loving it.
Beat the odds. When evil hurls you down the deepest, darkest trench you could imagine, and it feels as though the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and everyone has counted you out, pull off a miracle. Harness the sacred energy that lies within you and show the world your true form. Because this version of you, the one that stays down, has a weak mind, settles for less, is not you. This is not your true form. It is time for you to embody it.
You want to get rewarded for things that, just for participating, and that's not how life works. You know, you're judged by your wins, you're judged by your losses, you're judged by your effort, you're judged by the end results that you develop and you put out there. It doesn't matter who you are. There's always going to be a winner, there's always going to be a loser. In your life, you're either winning or you're losing. It's all the stuff in between that people like to make excuses for and like to justify, well, this is why I'm in. No. You're either winning or you're losing.
At some point, you have to ask yourself why you're repeatedly saying you're unhappy, yet doing nothing about it. If you want something fundamentally different, you have to make fundamental changes. Don't expect different results when your behavior is the same. Nothing in this world is handed to you, not even your own happiness. Everything must be earned. Change your perspective and change your life.
Happiness is a mindset. If you give off positive energy and you treat people with respect and you try to be a better individual every single day, you will attract happiness in your life. If you don't put yourself out there and try, then you're not going to be able to grow and you're not going to be able to get to that goal. It's just going to be a dream forever.
If money and status were no object, what would I do? If I was less afraid of other people's opinions, what would I say? What actually makes me happy? Does success make me happy? What is my definition of success? What is my definition of success if money was taken out of the equation? What are the things that I'm hiding from myself? What are the emotions that I'm unprepared to feel? What are the things that I feel the most shame and guilt around?
Whenever you feel negative or unhappy about anything, you say, wait a minute, I'm responsible. I'm responsible for my life. I'm responsible for what happened. I can't change the past, so I'm not going to spend a second worrying about the past. I'm going to become so busy working on my future and my goals that I don't have time to think about the past.
A lot of people can give up. It's easy to give up. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, man, I'm done. I ain't going. I ain't going to keep going. Yeah, I don't feel like going to work. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm going to do the same thing again today, but I'm going to try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying.
Don't let anybody ever tell you you're not good enough. If you really want something bad enough, if you really, really want something bad enough, you'll figure out a way to get there.
The Buddha says, being in a state of pain, anxiety, or in a state of suffering comes from attachment. When you're attached to things, attached to people, attached to identities, attached to philosophies, then you end up being in a situation where you experience pain. But you don't have to experience suffering if you live in a state of no expectation, where you're just living life, taking it day by day, step by step, and enjoying yourself. You always have the pain of comparison. It's easy to compare yourself in the age of the internet to other people. The pain of living in the future, right? The pain of what you could be, you should be, but you aren't. You can liberate yourself from a lot of these things by living in the present moment, by being here right now.
We may not be able to control everything in our outer world, but we certainly can control our inner world. And so it's not so important to not react. I mean, everybody reacts, I react. The question is, how long are you going to react? So if you keep an emotional reaction going on for an extended period of time, you're memorizing that emotion, and your body, as the unconscious mind, is believing it's living in the same past experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We become addicted to the very life we don't even like. So it's important then for people to realize then, when you have that moment where you have crisis or something breaks down, that you do have control over it, and it's a formula.
If you think that everything is too good to be true, you're going to be right 9 out of 10 times. The only issue is that 1 out of every 10 opportunity, that could be the one that could change your life. So optimists fail far more than cynics, but eventually they hit a home run. So always keep your guard up, protect yourself, be street smart, but never fully close yourself off to the fact that you might have a life-changing opportunity in front of you.
These are words to remember when anyone tries to tell you to give up, tell you to give in, because whatever you're trying to do is impossible. Impossible is just a word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. I'm here to say you will make mistakes along the way. You will fall down. I have, many times. But what we do after that fall is how we make history, because impossible is nothing.
If you look at the greats in any walk of life, the greats do things when they don't always want to. And that's the separation.
Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. Build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You were able to hear all your past traumas. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays.
It's risky is living your life and never trying for anything and never doing something brave and never getting yourself scared, and in a good way.
You know, if I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're all going to die one day. So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. You know, go for it.
A lot of people think they have all this time, so they f***ing waste it. And they never go out and do what they really set out to do or accomplish or do anything great in their life. You think when you're young that you have all this time. You have no time. There's no time. There is no tomorrow, you know? There is no tomorrow. That shit. Let's get all this shit done today.
Contemplate the price you pay for inaction. So I think a lot of the time we presume that inaction has no cost, but it does. Inaction does have a cost, because your attention is the most important thing that you have. So contemplate the price that you pay for inaction. It's a justification for you doing things sooner rather than later and committing.
Every morning when you get up, say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now. I do it now, do it now. Whenever you have this tendency to procrastinate, program your subconscious mind with this automatic conditioned command, do it now, do it now, do it now. The key to overcoming procrastination is to develop a sense of urgency. Be the kind of person who gets things done quickly. Be the kind of person who launches fast on a task. Say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now. Do you know that less than 2% of the population have a sense of urgency, and that there's not an example of a successful person anywhere who does not have a sense of urgency? That if you just develop a sense of urgency when somebody gives you a task, that you get on it and do it fast, that alone will move you into the top ranks in a very short period of time.
Why do you try to make them understand you when they don't even understand themselves? They judge your actions but don't even care to think about theirs. They criticize your every move while they blindly stumble around. You're trying to garner respect from the wrong people. It is apples and oranges. They view reality differently than you do. And every minute you spend trying to sell them on your dream is a minute you are not spending actually trying to achieve it.
When you're grateful, you can't be worried. You can't be fearful. When you're grateful, you can't be angry. And anger and fear are what screw people up most in their relationships, in their life, in their business. So I wire myself. I was saying to you that most people want to be happy, but their habit is to be worried or pissed off or frustrated or stressed. And so they've got a highway to stress and they got a dirt road to happiness.
One of my most powerful motivational frames is thinking about the person that I want to become as the destination. And thinking like, I want to be bulletproof. I want to be bulletproof in these ways. I want to be bulletproof in my marriage. I want to be bulletproof in my business, etc. And I think about that man, whoever I want him to be. Like we said, hell is when you look at who you could have been and realize that you're not that person. And then I think, if I were to make that man, what would I put that man through to make him who he is? Like, it wouldn't be easy times. It wouldn't be quick wins. It wouldn't even be easy wins. It would be the toil and the struggle of achieving and reaching for things that are right out of grasp. And so when I'm going through those like really harder times, I like to think of like looking in my mental mirror of like, I'm making you. I'm not there yet, but I'm making you.
Feeling lonely? Me too. I feel lonely a lot. But what loneliness is at its core is a lack of understanding of who we really are.
When something bad happens, why me? To feel sort of a grievance, that things aren't fair, to feel that other people aren't giving you what you want or what you deserve. We start from a position of feeling kind of sorry for ourselves. We deserve more than what we're getting. And so amor fati is very powerful in that you train yourself to accept everything that happens. It's sort of a banality to say that things happen for a reason, but there's some truth to it. For Nietzsche, it was, this is life. Life involves pain. Life involves adversity. You're going to die one day and it's not going to be pleasant. Your friends and family members, they're going to die one day and it's not going to be pleasant. You're going to have failure in life. People are going to hurt you. But that is life. That's what it is. So to resist that, to be angry about that, means to not love life itself.
Join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations are high. Go where the demands are high. Go where the pressure's on to perform, to grow, to change, to develop, to read, to study, to develop skills. Go where the demands are high. Go where the expectations are strong so that it'll provoke you, push you, urgently insist that you not remain the same for the next couple of years, the next 5 years, that you'll grow and change.
There are so many times in life where people want to be able to change. I want to change revenue. I want to change my avenue. I want to change my residence. I want to change everything around me without truly changing the only thing that matters in life, and that's you. You've got to work on you. You've got to decide, I want to be more, and I'm going to put in the work to develop myself and stop throwing in the towel thinking that I got to quit and find a new location and start over. You can start right now working on you so that you can become better. But the only way to do that is allow yourself to build up resiliency. When it feels like everything is against you, then put your back against the wall and realize that whatever faces me has to come at me face to face. And if I stand there, the bully's got to back down. But if you throw in the towel, if you turn your back, if you run from it, it will stalk you the rest of your life. Questions like, what could I have been? What would have happened if I had stayed in the fight? You don't have to wonder what would have been when you stay in it right now. Greatness is something that evolves out of your life because of failures you've had in the past. Every time you fall, it's an example or an opportunity to get up and an opportunity to learn from it. But you gotta stay in the fight. Don't turn your back and run for the fight that was built for you. You're not overmatched. You just don't understand the match has met its mate when it met you.
The battle is feelings versus discipline. And I hate living according to your feelings. I hate acting according to your feelings. They get you messed up, dude. They jack your life up. They get you in trouble because not all feelings are good. You cannot live your life based off of your feelings. Feelings do not equal reality. Feelings do not equal results.
won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. It's not that the things that the dragons are going to slay aren't going to get bigger. They are. But you become so much more equipped to slay them back. And you have so many more allies. You have people in the stands cheering for you. You have the audience. You have all of these other things that are behind you. But in the beginning, it's just you with a stick against a bear.
I need you to understand that there is an undeniable power behind belief. And I know that you've never had anybody that's truly believed in you, but I'm telling you that I believe in you. I know that you can overcome your destructive habits, that you can become more confident, you can earn more, and you can let go of the traumas that should no longer serve you, and you're better than that.
I'm saying what if and start saying why not. Some people are gonna live with the what if for the rest of their lives. But when I get old and I'm on my deathbed, man, what if I would have took that chance? What if I would have just started? What if I would have took the first step? Taking the first step got us exactly where we are today. You take a chance to do something that you love or something you saw in a dream, it can change your life. But exactly where you are right now is always gonna be there. It's never gonna go anywhere. Your hometown's gonna be the same. People are gonna be doing the same shit around you. But a chance for you to get out of where you're at, step out and take a chance on life, man, it could be the best decision you ever made in your life. But you can't sit down on and what if. Sit down on your ass and think, damn, boy, what would it be like to be there? Go f***ing do it.
The hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. Now, once people understand that they're going to be uncomfortable, then the question is, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors will you demonstrate in one day? And the act of closing your eyes and rehearsing who you're going to be when you open your eyes begins to install neurological hardware in your brain to look like you've already done it.
Whatever you're thinking about, that's who you will become, because thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to habits, habits lead to lifestyle, and that lifestyle is what dictates who you are.
Here's the reality. Bad days are in store for all of us. It's guaranteed. It's the circle of life. So the question we need to ask ourselves is it really worth wasting perfectly good days fearing the bad ones?
Will chase happiness because they think that that's what they need, when in reality, happiness is just a byproduct of becoming the best version of yourself. So instead of chasing the emotion, become the type of person that is experiencing that emotion, and you can be in that state more consistently.
My prayer for you is that you win the battle that no one knows about, because usually those are the toughest.
On the other end of suffering is a life that many people don't know even exists. It's a beautiful world. We all live in this world where our brains are keeping us in this box. Outside that box, on the other edge of suffering, is a world that's endless of opportunity. But we are afraid to go outside that box because in that box is comfortable. Outside that box, man, God gives you a shovel and says, man, start digging. That's not fun. But when you dig your own path to all kind of stuff that's unknown.
There ain't nothing you can do about what's gonna happen to you. You can't stop life from happening. You can do something about it. Life is 10% what happened to you, is 90% what you do about it. You got to stop tripping every time something happened to you like it's the end of the world. It ain't. Just change your mindset. If you change your attitude, you change your altitude.
To succeed, you gotta overcome your fears, battle your own greed, conquer your own demons, become unsure, second guess everything you believe in, survive through the suffering to figure out the meaning, and go hard to the moment you bring the cream in. You might lose sleep, but it's gonna feel like you're dreaming.
Like the process of self-improvement. At the end of the day, you gotta ask yourself the question, what fulfills you? Like winning and losing, cool, of course it bothers you emotionally, right? But when you put in work, when you prepare, when you give everything you got to something, the process of self-improvement, even if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, you still have something to hang on to, knowing that you put some pride into the process of it, right? Just the process of self-improvement. When you do things, you try your best to do it a certain way. Right? It's not predicated upon outcome. I'm not doing it, like he said, because I'm trying to attain this. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get this. I'm not doing it for this, because the moment you get into the for this, to get this, like, you're going to be on the emotional roller coaster. So every once in a while, man, I think you got to pull your head up for a little bit of air and just ask yourself, man, like, what is it that fulfills me when I'm chasing that dragon? You know what I'm saying? Fulfillment is a powerful thing.
Best advice I can give you on that is treat the past as a school. Let it teach you the mistakes you've made, the things that went wrong, the things that didn't work. Don't use the past as a burden to carry, and don't use the past as a club to beat yourself to death. Past losses, past failures, past mistakes. But let the past be a school. Tough school maybe. We've all been through some tough stuff. So if you feel good about the past, draw from it for experience and let it teach you. Then next is how you feel about the future. We've got to have the future well designed. The future is called the promise.
Those racing thoughts you have, sleepless nights, the anxiety, it's all there for a reason. It's telling you something. It's telling you that you need to take action. All of those emotions are telling you that you're meant for more than this. So don't ignore it.
You know, don't allow the storms that come into your life to make you lose that gratitude, to make you lose the appreciation for waking up. Learn how to dance in the rain, dance through the storm. Embrace the storms, right? Because these things that happen to us, right? Hard times, difficulties, obstacles, they're inevitable. So the best thing you can do is learn how to work with the flow of life rather than against it. You know, don't try to run away from the pain. Don't try to escape the obstacles that come into your life. No, learn how to embrace them head on. Learn how to go through them, because that's where growth happens.
Everyone's just looking out for themselves, and that's okay. But it's time for you to start prioritizing yourself too. Trust that things will fall into place and that everything will work out for the best. You've overcome a lot through this journey and stayed hopeful even when things felt impossible. It's okay to be selfish too. It's your turn now to get what you deserve.
You're not really enjoying, while you pursue the goal, whatever it is in your life, if you're not really enjoying the doing because you are so focused on becoming and achieving and arriving at this future point, that the enjoyment of the doing is so greatly diminished or disappears completely, because all you want to do is arrive, but you're not there yet.
I can't handle not knowing. I can't handle not finding out. I don't want to not find out. The not knowing will drive me crazy. The wondering what if. What was I going to be embarrassed of failure? Going to be ashamed of losing? I mean, those are already two things that when I just say them, if I hear somebody else say that to me, I'm reaching out going, no, dude, feel more. No, don't be ashamed. Screw up. Find out.
Number one, you have to stop regretting the past. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't forget the past. You can learn from it and get better from it so you don't make the same mistakes, but you got to stop regretting the past. Number two is stop worrying about the future. Psychologists have found that 85% of what you worry about on a daily basis will never happen. That's a waste of your energy. That's a waste of your time. And then number three, stop looking for your happiness in other people. Other people cannot make you happy. It is absolutely impossible.
When you form a partnership, you make one decision. My decision is to be great. My decision is to be unstoppable. My decision is to win. My decision is to whatever it may be. Then after you make that decision, you got to commit to it. How many times have you talked yourself out of the commitment? You've talked yourself out of the commitment.
It's not a bad thing to be unique. It's not a bad thing to be different. Not a bad thing to be comfortable with yourself, regardless of what everybody else around you is doing.
Those who are willing to risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. You have to take the risk. You can no longer play it safe. Now it's time to get risky. Now it's time to truly find out what you're made of and what you could achieve. Now it's time to truly find out how many lives you can impact. Now it's time to find out what you are destined to become.
You can't have an easy life in a great character. Show me a trust fund kid that inherited a bunch of money, and I'll show you someone mentally tortured. It's not the pursuit of happiness, it's the happiness of the pursuit. The journey or the destination. It's who you become on the journey.
If you're not getting past this today, this week, this month, this year, all of a sudden a decade goes by and you're still hung up and you can't get rid of that thing. If it's holding you back from going where you want to go, maybe you should just deny the thing ever can happen. Kick it in the head. Kick it off the curb. I'm done with you. I'm sick of you. I'm tired of hanging out with you. I'm tired of that thing, whatever it is, holding me back from going where I want to go.
Never say you can't do it. Say, I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet. And that's true with everything. It's like, there's nothing that you can't do. You may not have done it yet. We don't know if you can do it or not until you really practice. And then you find out if you can do it or not, or how well you can do it.
You have to kill your current self for your new self to have room to grow. And so it's this constant appraisal of your skills and activities. Which of these makes me stronger? Which of these makes it more likely for me to hit my goal? And I just want to give you that frame because that single frame of, is this person being in my life make it more likely or less likely that I hit my goal? Is this activity or this behavior that I do make it more or less likely that I hit my goal? And I consistently just ask that question over and over and over again. Imagine a competitor that you'd never want to go against. Focused, persistent, always learning, always improving, relentless, says no to everything but that which makes them stronger. You know what he looks like, you know how he acts, you know who he associates with. That's future you. Now become him.
A dream is so big, when you have something, it's hard to give up. You get to the point that you're capable of risking more for just a dream, which is something that a normal person will not understand.
You know, right now the goal is just to focus on myself, you know, everything grows. I'm not worried about the mistakes that I made in the past or anything, you know. I'm in competition with myself. So I'm just getting better and better and better. That's it.
You want to know when your life will really change, though? The truth is, your life will change when you realize that some people are gone and they ain't coming back. Stop trying to breathe life into something that died years ago. Some people are in your life forever, but most people are only passing through. That chapter is in the past. So instead of reading the same chapter over and over again, it's time to make space for people who actually deserve your time and attention and who are presently here with you right now.
Remember this when life gets tough. Life is a lot like driving. Sometimes you get lost, and sometimes you have to take streets you don't like. Maybe they're full of traffic, or maybe they're too bumpy, but they lead you where you need to go. Each rough patch has a purpose that will teach you a lesson and make you stronger. You might not get why you're on a hard road, but trust the process. Every path, no matter how hard, is needed for your growth. The bumps in the road are steps to where you need to be. Keep going, even when the way is unclear or crowded. You have a place you're meant to reach. The funny thing about life is that we can have so much and still feel something's missing. There's always that empty spot making us wonder why. We make excuses, looking for reasons for this feeling, wondering if there's a fix. It's because we can't let go. Holding on to a dream of a perfect life, we forget that good things take time.
Pleasure passes quickly, but the shame remains. That's the harsh Stoic truth. But the positive side of that is the reverse. When you work hard for something, when you put in hard labor on something, that passes quickly. But the pride, the virtue, the good that comes out of it, it remains.
And it's about accepting the seasons. Weather can never be the same. It can never rain all day, every day. So maybe you're in a season, but the weather always has to change. What can you be learning? What can you be doing in this season? Because it's definitely not going to change if you're not figuring out what lesson you need to have in this season. If it never rained, the plant's not growing.
Have you ever realized that both fear and faith require you to believe in something that you cannot see? Think about that for a second. Both include uncertainty, both require discomfort. One keeps you small by anticipating danger or pain. The other wants you to grow by anticipating joy or love. So if you're stuck between the two, doubt or hope, fear or faith, maybe the simpler question is, which of the two do you value more? Once you have your answer, start acting from there.
And most people, when they fail, they don't like to look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know what? Maybe I have to change. People want change to happen to them. Mm-hmm. They don't want to change. And when you realize that change isn't going to happen to you, you need to actually proactively determine your future. Then and only then can you actually take not only full accountability for your good actions, your bad actions, but for your full life.
If you feel like you lost your way, I would say congratulations. If you're lost, that only means one thing. You're about to be found. And sometimes you need to lose your way in order to find a better way. Sometimes you need to lose certain things to gain better things. Sometimes certain doors have to close that you want to keep open so a better door can come into your life.